This is Georgetown, the podcast. Georgetown County and the city. Georgetown is growing, changing, expanding, and blossoming. The Hammock Coast of South Carolina. It's a renaissance. This is Georgetown, the podcast. Here's your host, Scott Richards.
Welcome back, Georgetown, the podcast. It's all things Georgetown. It's the revitalization, the renaissance of this beautiful part of South Carolina. Actually, it's a beautiful part of the nation. Georgetown, South Carolina, the city, the county. I am Scott Richards, and I'm thrilled to be joined today by the lovely Hope McFaddin, who is the executive director of the Maritime Museum. So first of all, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I found out something that I thought was just fascinating, and maybe that's just my upbringing, but you live a couple of doors down upstairs on Main Street in Georgetown. Is that a hoot or what?
It is absolutely incredible. I say that I live in a Hallmark movie. I get to live downtown, see my friends, the community that's become my family, and walk to work.
I want people to understand downtown, Front Street, Georgetown. Just describe that, where you live, a little bit in terms of this is what it's like. That's why I'm so like, wow, how nice is this?
It is. It's become home. I grew up an hour away, and the community has just been so embracing and kind, and Georgetown is just Southern hospitality to its core, and it's home. So there's nothing quite like Georgetown.
Well, Georgetown has lots of restaurants and shops on Front Street. Do you eat at home at all, or do you just walk down, I'm going to go to the bakery, I'm going to go? That would be very tempting for me.
It absolutely is tempting. I walk past the bakery every morning, and I have to put my blinders on and be very careful. I do try my best to eat at home, though it is tempting with all the incredible restaurants that we have downtown not to eat out every night.
We're going to talk a little bit about that in a little bit, but first of all, let's talk about the Maritime Museum. I'm not sure people recognize the value and importance of water to Georgetown. What is it I'm looking at out there? That is
the Sampit River that we are looking at right now.
Okay, the Sampit River. I want you to talk a little bit about the history of water long ago and today in Georgetown. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, water, of course, is such an important part of our history and, of course, our future as well. Georgetown obviously was a major port in the southeast, and we to this day have youth sailing program and activity, and it's recreation for the county. So all of the industry that water has provided for the city and the county here in Georgetown has not only been such an integral part of our history, but will continue to play an important part in our present and our future.
The Port of Georgetown, tell me about what it used to be and what it used to represent to the nation. Because first of all, we've mentioned this before, but Georgetown goes back a long ways, and in terms of South Carolina, most of these other communities are babies compared to Georgetown.
Yeah, so Georgetown's the third oldest city in South Carolina, and of course the port, we used to be the largest port in South Carolina. And just the industry, the importance, the money, the work that the port brought to Georgetown, of course, was such a part of its growth and vitality in the past. And so it'll be interesting to see where we go with the future, with it no longer being an active port, with the potential and possibilities of what it can bring to us in the future.
What did it used to bring in? What was the big industry of the Port of Georgetown?
Lumber. It was the Atlantic Coast Lumber Company.
And that was product coming in and going out?
Yes.
When did it stop being such a big port to the state and to the nation? When did that change?
One of my favorite things, of course, is we're staring right at it, the Goat Island, which actually was not an island. It was cut, I believe, in the 30s or 40s to help the port so that boats didn't have to go around out of the basin, back out into the bay. It was just an easy thoroughbred right back out to the bay. So after about I think it was the 60s is sort of when production started slowing down and the port and activity wasn't such a driving force in our community.
Let's talk a little bit about what it is today, though, because I'm seeing all kinds of boats, recreational vehicles. This is a Big waterfront community. What is it that drives it? I guess if you've got water, you're going to have people with boats.
Absolutely. Yes, we are pretty much 100% recreational now down in Georgetown. Unfortunately, our shrimping industry is not what it used to be, which of course was a big driving force. And right now, the sand pit where we're looking at is in desperate need of some dredging. If we were to see some more commercial activity, that would require dredging, which I do believe is being planned in the next year or two. But as of right now, recreational is definitely the driving force with our waterways.
Help me understand, how do you get here? You go the waterway to this front street?
Yes, so we are on the Sampit River, and there are 4 additional waterways that lead out to Winyah Bay.
Okay.
Georgetown, downtown Georgetown is right on Sampit River. If you head out, you're going to run into PD, Black, Waccamaw.
So everywhere and anywhere you can get here.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have so many people that do what's called the loop. So we get a lot of boaters that come and visit our museum, and of course, just downtown Georgetown in general.
Well, good transition, because I want you to talk about the Maritime Museum. Let's start with, when did it start? The history of this building, if you know much about it, because this just feels like it's been here a while in a very good way. But this beautiful building, what's its history and when did it become the Maritime Museum?
So this is my favorite story. We actually didn't start as a museum. We started as the Wooden Boat Show. There was a festival, the Bayfest, and they had a wooden boat exhibit that was part of it, and it was kind of going away. And there were a couple of business owners who loved the maritime history of Georgetown, who loved wooden boats, the craftsmanship, the history, and they took over this festival in the 90s and grew it to be the Georgetown Wooden Boat Show. And with the funds that they received, they started a 501c with the hopes of having a maritime museum. We started as the Georgetown Maritime Museum in the Chamber of Commerce Visitor Center here on Front Street, and then in 2011 moved into this building, which used to be the news store.
The news store, that's the name of it?
It was, yes, that was the name of it.
The sign said
the news store.
The news store.
Yes.
Meaning it wasn't used goods, or was it a general store?
I believe it was appliances, actually.
Oh.
And then it was also McCrory's Five and Dime at one time in history,
yeah,
too.
McCrory's, they did Five and Dimes. It's a beautiful building.
Watching or listening to Georgetown, the podcast.
The Wooden Boat Show, we should point out, that's a big event.
Yes, the Georgetown Wooden Boat Show. I think a lot of people kind of forget that this is not a city-run function. The Wooden Boat Show is put on by the South Carolina Maritime Museum and is our largest fundraiser. So the fact that we are at this location and can continue to be free to the public, we do still rely so heavily on the support of our community and our city and our county to create the biggest event in Georgetown.
So you or a committee puts on the Wooden Boat Show.
We sure do.
Okay, I want to hear more about that, because it's a build a boat, put it in the water, and hope it floats show? But it's more than that.
It's a labor of love. We're so thankful. We have such great community support. We closed 3 blocks of Front Street, so we have wooden boats, vendors who are selling maritime wares. A lot of the stores say this is their busiest weekend of the year, and that's what we want. This is our biggest fundraiser, but it was started by local business people to try to bring traffic downtown to Front Street at a time where it wasn't as thriving as it is now.
When is it? We didn't talk about the dates.
Yes, so it is always the 3rd Saturday and Sunday of October.
Oh gosh, perfect time
and
of the year.
We're going into, I believe it's 37 years now.
Oh goodness. Oh.
So I like to joke with some of our longtime board members that the boat show is older than I am.
And
they don't always appreciate that, of course.
But tell me what happens, because I have not seen it, and I've heard about it, and it sounds like a blast.
It is so much fun. So it's a great family friendly event. Like I said, we have 3 blocks of Front Street that has wooden boats, craftspeople. And then on Saturday, we have a boat building competition. So it's teams of 2. We have had teams of more that for, high school students. They have 4 hours to build a wooden boat. Basically a rowboat.
But is it a kit? They're all the same, or they can do whatever they want?
We give them plans. It's called a Carolina Bateau. So we provide the lumber, the screws, the nails. They have 4 hours to build the boat, and then at 5 o'clock on Saturday, they put them in the water and see if they float. And it's funny because we have a lot of really incredible craftsmen, and they're not always the best rowers.
And do boats sink?
I'm very surprised. It's been several years since we've had a boat sink. Definitely some take on water. There's, that kind of evil part of me that's like hoping, like, come on, let's have a sinker this year. The craftsmen that we've had, craftsmen and women, they're incredibly talented. They know what they're doing.
But it's a competition.
It is a competition. So they are judged on their rowing and the speed at which it takes them to get to the buoy and back, and then on the time it takes, and then the actual craftsmanship of the boat itself.
So they can customize, they can do what they want, paint, colors?
They don't paint and covers, it's just the actual construction of the boat that's being judged.
And then Hope's special award is the first boat that sinks. That would make you happy, apparently.
Yes. Well, not happy. I love our boat builders, but
but that would make for a fun.
We get the boat sinking on Sunday with the corrugated cardboard competition.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. We're building floating devices out of cardboard?
Oh yeah, and that has been so much fun. I can't remember how many years we've been doing this now. They do this nationwide. We actually found a cardboard boat museum, I believe in Ohio, but it has just been so much fun. We have youth groups and the Boy Scouts and adults, families that get cardboard or corrugated material and build boats. And yes, we do usually have sinkers, but the craftsmanship that they display is quite incredible. We have had some truly remarkable corrugated boats that have stood the test of time. And
how big are these boats? What are they building? 1 person, 2 person?
You'll see it all. I think that we had a team from West Virginia High School. They've come down in the past, and I believe they got about 6 kids in their boat one year.
And it didn't sink?
That one sunk.
Of course. Oh, gosh. And it's the same sort of thing. You have X amount of time, and then you have to go row it. So
the cardboard boats, they can pre-build those. So they can, days or weeks. But we have had families that have come that morning and built the boat.
Wow.
In about, 5 or 6 hours.
Okay. 3rd weekend in October. It sounds like we need to see, and Hope has a boat that sinks. Let's talk about the Maritime Museum. What is this? What's here? This is the time for us to discover. It was a month or so ago. I came in here for the first time. I was amazed.
Yeah,
and I'm not a boater, and I don't know anything about boats, but this is a fascinating place.
It really is. And, we're so happy and have such great supporters, and our visitors are grateful enough and leave donations, but we are a free museum open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 5. So we are the South Carolina Maritime Museum. We, of course, focus some on our Georgetown County maritime history. And for those who maybe don't know what maritime is, because it's not a word you hear every day, it is everything to do with the water. So we're focusing on ships and stories and people that have played an important part in our maritime history. So downstairs, which we have been here since 2011, we focus more on local stories. So we have the original Fresnel lens that was in the Georgetown Lighthouse. That was in a Coast Guard station in Florida. And in 2014, we brought it back to what we think is its rightful home here in Georgetown. And that's my favorite artifact that we have.
And how far does that go back?
That's from the 1800s.
Oh my, okay.
So we have that here on display, long-term loan from the Coast Guard. We also have a model on the Planter, which is an incredible story about Robert Smalls and a boat. He was an enslaved man in Charleston, and he piloted this boat out of Charleston Harbor to secure his and his family's freedom. So we have a model of the Planter, and then upstairs, we opened upstairs in 2017. We had a long-term friend and donor of the museum who pretty much when we opened, it was a ready-made exhibit on shipwrecks of South Carolina. So we have models of boats that have been of course, sunk off our coast. And we use upstairs as our rotating exhibit space as well. Right now we have an exhibit on the Sea Cloud, which was Marjorie Mayweather Post boat that was actually here in Georgetown for a time.
There's pictures of all kinds of boats. I don't know, it's schooners and paddle boats. Civil War history, there's a lot of that here too.
Just a little on the Civil War. We don't have a ton of information from Revolutionary War. Unfortunately, we're celebrating 250. There's we don't go back that far, but as I mentioned, the planter was from Civil War, as was the Harvest Moon, which we have a model of downstairs, which to this day it sunk out in Winyah Bay, and to this day you can still see the smokestack at low tide.
Oh,
if you're out on a boat.
Oh, okay. Can't see it from here. Let's talk a little bit about an event you've got coming up, because I love the name of this. So explain.
The burning of the socks. It is quite a special maritime tradition.
I think I asked you several times. I said, "Wait a minute, what? Burning of what? Tell me what that is."
I was like, you heard right. It's burning of the socks. So it is a tradition that started up in Annapolis, and the man who started it actually lives in Pawleys Island now. So he generally comes. We have a poem that he reads. It's all about the burning of the socks and its history. Long story short, it's a boater's tradition. They're on their boat all winter long. Their socks are nasty and grease and paint are covered it.
I get it.
The spring equinox, starting to get warmer. He cracked open a beer, started a fire, threw his socks in the fire, and
it's warm. I don't need socks. I'm on my sandals. No socks till November, whenever.
Exactly. And, we've had, for South Carolina, kind of a brutal winter this year. So we are especially happy to burn our socks and get ready for spring in March.
I like the idea. So the event is where and what?
So it will be Thursday, March 19th, right here at the Maritime Museum. We will, of course, have a little bonfire where you will throw your old socks away. We are asking.
Can't imagine that. That wouldn't smell very good. Everybody's old socks in the bonfire.
We hope the breeze is
Yes.
blowing the opposite way for that. We will have an oyster roast, Perlo, live music from Rob Williams, Transistor
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. Not everybody calls it Perlo, but I know you're from Kingstree, and that's what it's called. But Perlo is
essentially rice and chicken, or
no. What do we call it? It's chicken bog.
It's Perlo.
Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Yeah.
It's Perlo.
There's a line. North of this is chicken bog. South, it's Perlo. Yeah. I like the name Perlo better.
I do too. Although who knows how to spell it?
It's always good. Yeah, I have grown to love all of the different. So, what do you put in your Perlo?
My grandfather passed away, last year, and I grew up, he didn't eat chicken, so I grew up with the best Perlo. He did sausage, and not like, Hillshire. He went to the meatpacking plant and got sausage.
Okay.
And Boston butt or pork shoulder.
Oh, you're done.
So I grew up with my granddad Pop's Perlo, and nothing can beat that.
Do you make it for the Perlo events?
I will not be making it.
Okay.
But we've got a caterer who's doing the oyster roast and the Perlo, so it'll be tasty.
But that'll have chicken.
It'll probably have chicken.
I like your grandfather's better. I like the idea of that. All right, so is that a ticketed event, or it's a...
It is a ticketed event, so it's $50, $45 for friends of the museum, and $8 for children.
And that includes all the food?
Includes all the food, all the entertainment, all the sock burning. For several years, we have partnered with Friendship Place, and we ask attendees to bring new socks that we'll share with our community in need.
That's great. So before I let you go, so much of Georgetown is reviving in the Renaissance. Talk about what it feels like for you being on essentially Main Street, Front Street, and how much it's changed and how much it's really impacted not just Georgetown, the city, the county, but the state.
Absolutely. So I've been here actually lived in Georgetown for a little over 8 years. And when I started, it was charming, but there were so many empty storefronts. So it's been really exciting to see the growth, but for us to still have that Southern charm. And, I get to walk down the street and I'm waving to people that I know. So you still have that small town feeling, but the growth is also an exciting thing to see ahead. The change is scary, and I think we need to be responsible about it, but it's going to be exciting to see what the next few years hold for us.
The South Carolina Maritime Museum, Hope McFaddin is the executive director. It has been a delight to chat with you, and we want to get more and more people to come to visit the museum.
Please.
Let's mention your website. You have a website.
We sure do. www.scmaritimemuseum.org. You can also visit our boat show, which is woodenboatshow.com, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Can't beat it. Georgetown, the podcast. There's so many great things happening in Georgetown, the city, the county. I am Scott Richards. Hope McFaddin, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching or listening to Georgetown, the podcast. Learn more about the Hammock Coast and Georgetown. Read Georgetown Magazine in print, pick one up around Georgetown and along the Carolina coast. Or digitally, visit readgeorgetownmag.com.